too much to talk about. I've got a clown show tonight, the same night as the Super Bowl. It was supposed to be 2 weeks ago, but that was when the blizzard was. So I'm doing a little clown practice. Figure out what the fuck I'm doing. You'll never believe what just happened to me. Did you see what God just did to us? I was moving my stuff out to the living room, and I have, my big notebooks that I've been reading from. Maybe if you've been following my videos, you know the big notebooks. I moved to the big notebook. And, so I put all my stuff in the big notebook like it's a tray. That's one thing about the notebooks that's nice is they double for all my smokies out there. My little smoker weed heads. I put everything on my, I put all my utensils, my grinder, if you will. I feel most people that watch this is kind of my niche. I think stoner is my niche, actually. On the internet, you have to zero in on kind of a special interest or something to find an audience. I think stoner may be my audience. So, I don't have one of those big raw trays or something with the fucking, it's like a fucking, like, fast food tray for weed. So the notebook kind of doubles. It's a nice, stylish, kind of book. It's bookish. It's like hipster. It's more authentic. It's more vintage. It's more twee to use this. So yeah. So anyway, I had all my stuff, and I am, I'm in a rush to kind of pull all my things out, and I'm carrying. So I'm like, do I open the door? And I grab the thing, and I sort of go for the door with the thing, and my joints are on there, and one of my joints flies off the notebook straight into, swear to God, the center of my cup of water. Of all the places in the entire room it could have fallen. Bam, right in, perfect swish into the cup of water. So, I have put, but, okay, it's not going to defeat me. I have put the joint on the radiator. I mean, it was soaked. This fucking thing was soaked. I cut my hair yesterday. I'm not really sure. I think I need to... I cut my bangs too much. I had a nice bang thing, and I cut them, and it... Bangs are so... It's such a fine line. It's a razor's edge, There's such a... It just can fall apart like that with bangs. You cut it a little too much, and you are dead. For the next however many months. I mean, look at this. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out a whole new strategy now. So anyway, I probably shouldn't have this on the TV while I'm doing this. This movie is magnificent. I do want to talk about that. So yeah, I put the joint on the radiator. Let's check in with it, shall we, for a sec? We'll just check in. See, it was soaked, and now it's pretty nice and crispy again. That really didn't take long at all for all my smokies out there. If this is one of the benefits of wintertime is the radiators are on, and so. Okay, in any case, I just wanted to get, like I said, I'm brainstorming ideas for the clown thing. This is my new tripod, by the way. See, all my legs fell off the monopod. You can kind of see that, right? The legs fell off. Oh. Why does it keep... Oh, yeah, these are the legs right here. They're gone. And so anyway, what do I do? Well, I found out it fits perfectly in a wine bottle. So this Francis Ford Coppola wine bottle is now my fucking tripod. And it's doing pretty good, I gotta say. It's pretty stylish. Once again, it's like the weed, why is it? Oh, it's like kind of leaning weird. Is that better? Should we go over here? Is it that? Maybe it was always doing that. Now it feels like it's gonna fall over backwards. In any case, I guess there was maybe wine in it, or maybe some sand or something. Weigh it down. In any case, I probably should not have this in the fucking video. You get copyrighted for that. So yeah, I retrieved it from the water. I put it on the radiator. I refilled my cup here. I'm drinking. So this movie is incredible. I mean, there's no subtitles. There's a lot of movies on YouTube just like for free. And there's no subtitles. Like the subtitles are Italian. At least on the TV, I can't figure out how to get English translation. But it doesn't matter, actually. I can tell this is like one of the greatest movies ever made. This movie, it's The Leopard, Visconti. I don't think I've ever really seen a Visconti. I've seen Antonioni, I've seen Fellini, of course. Visconti, I think I've seen Death in Venice, maybe. I think I watched Death in Venice in my apartment in Columbus on Denison in probably 2008, 9, 10, somewhere in there. I think I watched Death in Venice. Because I read it. It's like a novella. It's like a short masterpiece you can read. And so I think I have seen a Visconti before. But I'm surprised. I wish somebody would have I wish I could be my own teacher. I wish I could tell myself at 20 years old, like, watch this. Like, I like Antonioni. And, of course, I love Fellini. But this movie, and I can't even tell what the hell they're saying. I can tell that it's more like a novel. You can tell like they're kind of trying to put a novel on screen. It's this whole scope, a whole society is being portrayed. There's battles, there's soldiers. Burt Lancaster and Alain Delon. I mean, Jesus Christ. And they're in it speaking Italian. I think everything's dubbed to get a nice direct, soundtrack. Where's my lighter? Maybe I should just sit down. Yeah, I'm gonna sit down because I don't want to use all my energy before the clown show. I gotta leave in a couple hours, but there were some things I don't know when the next time I'm gonna be able to get on. Maybe I can even put it right there. See how that works. I don't think it's gonna fall. Oh shit, it's over. Okay. See, I didn't really get what the plot was, but like Jesus Christ, the way they lay out the world, the framing, every scene in this movie is like a painting. There's really beautiful interiors. There's giant paintings in the movie. It's like everything I love. It's really cinematic. And I realize now I like movies that kind of have like a literary density. Like this movie kind of reminds me of Buddenbrooks, which is another Thomas Mann, which I didn't read, but I saw a guy reading it in a movie I was in. He was reading it on the set, Buddenbrooks, Thomas Mann. They had this really beautiful edition. And it's about a family over, like, I liked those kind of stories. I like these kind of, like, epic, that have, like, a lot of things going on. Like Citizen Kane. But, I mean, this movie is literally 3 hours long. So it's like it's straining towards the miniseries and the long-form narrative television type thing. I was reading this interview with Kubrick. It popped up on my Twitter. It was pretty interesting. He was talking about narration and how narration can save you a lot of time. Like he was talking about Barry Lyndon and how they adapted it. He wanted to adapt Vanity Fair because he liked Thackeray, but he thought this is too much. It's too much story. There's no way you could really adapt Vanity Fair because it's literally, I don't even know, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages. It's one of the thickest books. It's really, I don't know, they had a lot of time on their hands back then. And he said, for a 2 or 3 hour movie even, it's just like it's too much. And you can see certain films, like what's that, Bertolucci 1900 is like 5 hours long. Once Upon a Time in America kind of has this epic kind of feel to it. You can feel them trying to put, even like Garp, you can tell they're trying to put like a novel amount of, or like Hotel New Hampshire's like that too. They're putting all of this fucking story into a 2-hour-long movie. And you can feel it unwinding like a novel. But Kubrick's point was, well, you could do it. Part of what he said in the interview was, well, you could do it now. Television has this thing called the miniseries, which is an innovation in dramatic form, he said. It was a new dramatic form. And I don't know when this interview was. It was sometime in the 70s, after Barry Lyndon. And maybe it was around that time, because it didn't talk about The Shining or anything like that. But even at that time, I don't know, maybe it was around the time of Roots. That's the only miniseries I can think of from the 70s. I don't know. What were the famous miniseries of the 70s? Now, miniseries is not really quite as much of a... everything's a fucking miniseries. Everything is like limited episodes. Everything is 6 episodes, right? This is one of the reasons why Hollywood is collapsing. Because a television season used to be 22 episodes. So if you were a union fucking cameraman or whatever, you'd have 22 paychecks. Now it's like you get to work 6 episodes. If that. Or 10 episodes. But we're all, everything became, right? Like that was the innovation of the Sopranos, I guess, really was or Twin Peaks. There were examples of shows that did season-long arcs or had continuing storylines, but Sopranos was the one that kind of codified all of it and kind of gathered it all together and was the first big kind of expansive like television novel in a way. I'm sure there are other examples and predecessors and things. Larry Sanders even is kind of like that. Seinfeld had narrative arcs and things that lasted over. It wasn't just like The Simpsons where it just resets every fucking time and it kind of takes. So anyway, I don't know, is that going away? Things like The Sopranos, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, these were like the apex of, and I think they're, something that our culture produced that was new, innovative, groundbreaking, and totally, there were works of genius. Those, like I was saying the other day, The Sopranos, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, those are the fucking novels. Those are the cultural currency that everybody knows. And they have the same kind of layout. They're talking about a whole society. There's a whole, there's a main cast of characters. There's a secondary cast of characters. There's a tertiary cast of characters. There's a whole family tree of drama that's being portrayed. Uh, and it's all canon. I guess soap operas, right, are like that. It's like canon, meaning the storylines like honor themselves. They don't forget things that happened in the past. It's like everything builds and it kind of unwinds more like life. And this is something that novels, I think, were good at, right? Is portraying personal lives within a society, giant structures. You can enter into people's psychology. You can have a cast of hundreds of characters like fucking Victor Hugo or Balzac or something. You can lay out social structures, institutions, whatever you want to comment on. You can do that with a novel because it's this sort of big tapestry to paint on or whatever. It's a big canvas. Hundreds and maybe even 1,000 pages, or like Proust or something. And you can see certain films try to do that. Even watching this fucking The Leopard with the subtitles off, I'm like, this feels like Proust. It feels like if they made a Proust movie, this is as close as they ever. There was something about it that felt literary to me. Even though I couldn't understand anything they were saying. Okay, this movie Ludwig, it's 4 hours long. Let's put oh yeah, I wanted to watch this one conversation piece. This is supposed to be good. So let me just put this on. This is a live reaction video. Start the movie now. If you're watching at home, put on conversation piece. We can watch together. I've got no sound on, so who knows, but like the images of this movie just blew me away. And he's got all these, it's like Ambersons or something, where it's like about this kind of like society people in these big kind of gala ballroom kind of panorama ensemble bravura kind of pieces, set pieces or whatever. Sort of like Marie Antoinette, I guess. Maybe was influenced by this stuff. Elvira Cortez. So I wish somebody would have turned me on to this when I was younger. I dove into, things like Fellini and Antonioni don't feel, they feel more kind of surreal, less kind of like this is full of tons of narrative. Fellini, it's more kind of psychological, it's more kind of dreamlike, it's more kind of about symbols, or there is psychology. There are like the layers of just like the actual story and like the actual people and stuff, but it's pretty contemporary. It's not like, even Barry Lyndon, right, feels like literary. There's something about the way that movie unfolds, the scope of time, how the characters pass through time. There's something about novels that are better at mapping that out, talking about groups of people, how they weave in and out. And so you can tell when a movie has that much backstory built into it, rather than a Rob Schneider movie or something. The Hot Chick, which as far as I know, is not based on any novel. But maybe it is, who knows? Maybe it's a young adult novel or something. So anyway, I'm just kind of blown away by this Leopard movie, which I'm watching literally with it's like illiterate. I have no idea what they're saying. I mean, the cast is incredible. Burt Lancaster, Alan Delon, and Claudia Cardinal. Maybe I'll watch it again. Fuck it, I'm going to put it on again. The Leopard. It's incredible. I mean, it kind of reminds me of The Godfather. You can tell Coppola and Scorsese got a lot from it. It's got an Age of Innocence feel a little bit. And The Godfather. There's a lot of this movie that you can feel The Godfather. And The Godfather, right, based on a novel. and it has a similar kind of scope and the way things generations. You know, one of my favorite subjects for whatever reason is like generations, seeing families, because it's almost like how history kind of rhymes, right? This is something I wanted to talk about. Everybody's been saying this thing about history doesn't rhyme, but it repeats, or it doesn't. History doesn't. It's important to study history because history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. People love to. I don't know if these are bots or they're human bots, they're NPCs. People love to comment this on TikTok videos or YouTube videos and feel like they're like saying something really smart, like, you know, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. It's true. It is true. And what does that mean exactly? I think that's astrological. When the planets recur, they're sort of like returns, but they happen in another form. I think that's one reason why poetry uses rhyme. Poetry is sort of imitating history. It's imitating life. In life, there are these cycles that are based on whatever, the planets, the movement of the spheres, who the fuck knows, gravity, all of the above, frequencies, vibrations, crystals, matter. You know, we're all atoms, basically. The atoms codify themselves at a certain vibration to make whoopee, and that's like us. That's our stuff, the star stuff. There you go. Atom, ATOM. Yeah, I think that's Adam and Eve. There you go. It's atomic, baby. It's subatomic. And so history, I think, has similar cycles or like orbits or something. And so like right now, right, like astrologically, such and such is moving into such and such, which hasn't happened since World War II and the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. And so things are sort of rising from the grave, coming back and kicking us in the ass. Coming back and biting us in the ass. What's up, Adam S., by the way? The original man. The OG. The OG of OGs. Say something. Say it, okay? Fuck football, everybody. Fuck the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl Sunday, everybody. We're live from fucking Super Bowl headquarters. For all my football fans. This is all my analysis for all my fantasy football people. For all you gamblers out there. Everybody betting on sports. I'm Jimmy the Greek today, all right? I'm going to give you the insider trading info, okay? I happen to know from a very reliable source. That's right. Big men in spandex. If I want to see big men in spandex roughhousing, I'll watch wrestling. Thank you very much. I want to watch fake scripted content, okay? I don't want them to condescend to me and pretend like it's real, like these football players. They like to pretend like it's not totally fixed. And they're all throwing the games, and because they're all betting. Every sports gambling, I've been talking about this on my fucking stream for years. Now suddenly people are coming around to the idea that, hey, maybe it's not a great idea for like, you know, minors to be gambling on sports through their phones. Like, probably not. Here we go. Whoa, Nolly! Sports. All right. Let me put this on my, I need to make a playlist for my clown show. I'm doing the clown show tonight. I'm in the clown claw. That's the only gig I... well, I'm honored. I've been told not to be as neurotic and negative about clowning. I need to be proud of clowning. And I am proud of clowning, god damn it. When I watch myself on stage, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. I sound super gay. Yeah, exactly. Pause any point during Barry Lyndon, you have a beautiful painting. And I think to me, that's enough in a way. It's like if you're going to make a fucking movie, that's a huge part of the equation. It's like, what are your compositions? What does your colors look like? You know, does it look nice? I don't think it's always about light per se. I think people obsess too much over the lighting, and like certainly the lighting is important, but I think you could get everything you need out of natural lighting. And that's one thing about Barry Lyndon is it's mostly natural light sources. They developed these fucking lenses with like NASA and shit so he could literally film with like candles. He didn't want a bunch of fucking anachronistic technology. And so you have it, you know, it's amazing to me how popular Barry Lyndon is on the internet. How well spoken of it is. Not that it doesn't, but when I was younger, it didn't feel that way. It did not feel like Barry Lyndon was one of Kubrick's most. You heard a lot about Strangelove or 2001, Full Metal Jacket was on TV, but like Barry Lyndon was like not really that. And I think even the DVD was like yeah, exactly. I think the sense of it was boring. Ryan O'Neal, I don't know, like it was not among Kubrick's. But I mean, I watched it for the first time, I don't even know, a few years ago, 5 or 6, or I don't even know, within the last decade. And it was like this movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for that time period. I like the 1700s or whenever this shit takes place. 1800, 1700, that kind of genteel, whatever. Barry Lyndon reminded me of Samuel Johnson literature and things. Things like Life of Boswell, or there's a really excellent biography of Richard Sauvage that Samuel Johnson wrote, which is like it's a literary tale of this rogue and his kind of life in poetry as sort of this anonymous whatever hero. And Barry Lyndon felt like it was similar enough. Like Barry Lyndon's not a poet really, but like it's a similar narrative idea, similar. It's the same time period, so the rhythms, and it was a visualization, and it just felt like sort of in confraternity with those works. You know, in the same way that this feels like it's in confraternity with Buddenbrooks or you know, these kind of big family epic generations. I mean, this is European, maybe it's a European thing. Um, but I think that's an interesting project. You know, as we're on like the precipice of the death of literacy, it's amazing how cinematic these films are. To me, they're richer because of you know, like The Godfather, there's hundreds of pages of backstory that everybody in the cast and crew has read theoretically. And so, like, it's much more fleshed out. It isn't just a screenplay, which, you know, is a very bare bones kind of document. But you're also compressing that information into a screenplay, into visual, into dialogue, into dramatization. And so there's certain things. That's one thing Kubrick said in this interview. He's like, novels are horrible with description because it takes a long time. It takes a long time to describe everything, where like movies can supply that information instantly. All of the description is there, but things like subjectivity are hard to portray because the camera has objectivity. Like you can put a narration over it, which makes it feel like there's an unreliable narrator, but the camera in a certain way is not an unreliable narrator because it's showing you objectivity from an objective, documented kind of source. Whereas like a novel, it's like you're getting all this information secondhand, so you kind of have to you're making it up in your head. So the unreliable narrator is a little bit more I think that's something Orson Welles was trying to do with his Heart of Darkness. It's like, how do we put the narrator on as the camera, as a character? You know, how do we make the camera an unreliable narrator? Because even in Citizen Kane, it's not completely clear that they're all unreliable narrators. They're telling their piece of the puzzle, and we sort of accept it as the objective fact. It's not necessarily exaggerated on a per character basis, at least not in any kind of extreme way. Where like something like Rashomon, right? Like that's the whole point of the movie, is like the point, everyone's subjective remembering of the incident is different depending on their point of view and who they are. And so Citizen Kane doesn't really exaggerate that effect as much as it could, because they are just trying to kind of tell you the life story. And that's one reason why they have the newsreel at the beginning, because it's like an overture for the whole movie. You know, it's like they show you his life story from kind of like public opinion, news, objectivity. Here's the overview. So now we're going to give it to you in these fragments and kind of postmodern and even sort of out of chronological order to some degree. But we'll give it to you all up front so you know what the hell is going on. Here's the Cliff's Notes of Charles Foster Kane. And so you see with these movies, it's like they try to pack a lot of shit. You can feel that it's truncated. I don't know. I haven't watched Barry Lyndon in a long time. It's 3 hours long. You know, I'll watch a 3 hour long movie. It's nice to watch a 3 hour long movie if it has 3 hours worth of, if it's an epic. You know, this is one reason why people are so into these narrative TV shows and binge watching. You know, it's like people will watch a fucking story for 100 hours or 120 hours or 200 hours or, I mean, look at wrestling. Wrestling is endless. It's a never-ending soap opera. It's 2 movies bold in one. Yeah, it starts off and he's like, that's one of the things about it. It's sort of about chance. It's sort of about fate. His real name is something else, right? Like he starts off in England or something as one guy. And then there's this real weird scene where like he runs into somebody on the road or something, like a highwayman or something. Don't they get robbed or something? And like his whole life changes. And there's this weird like Kubrick moment where like there's like these really sinister characters that like make eye contact with the camera, and you can just tell something weird is going to happen. And it's like life is like that. I don't know. It really captures the twists and turns. Yeah, he's robbed. There you go. And it just sort of changes his whole, but it all evens out in the end. I don't know. Life is like that. It's like a tree branch, you know? It sort of goes this way and then it twists that way for some reason. And God damn it. The dual motif, yeah. I mean, it's you can tell he went to source materials and saw paintings of that kind of stuff, mural tapestries of that from that period, and the visual style of that movie imitates the weird kind of perspective and the way that they try. You know, if you look at like early pictures of New York and shit that people drew in the 1700s, it's like they're all funky and the perspective's funky, but it's nice. It's pictorial. That was the best they could do to document the visual. Things like Turner, right? Have you ever, some of those Turner paintings? I mean, Jesus Christ. Redmond Barry. Yeah, there you go. So he's living like as under an alias or something. It's like a Don Draper. He's Dick Whitman. Father killed in a duel. Wow. I mean, for some reason, those kind of details feel literary to me. Novelists, for some reason, like Garp or like Hotel New Hampshire, is full of little faded events like that. His degenerate gambling. Well, yeah, he sort of just becomes like a libertine or like a indulgent aristocrat, right? Basically, or something, right? I mean, I should watch it again. Um, to me, like a rapscallion. Like if the director, like, I think that's half their job. Like if you're not making powerful paintings with your camera, like you're losing a lot of your cinematic dimension, I think. Like they need to be thinking about it like landscapes, like environments. How does the character, it informs the character so much. When the environment is that present and detailed and uh my lighter fucking won't spark. I think I'm out of I'll have to get the matches. Fuck, I'm trying to make my fucking clown playlist here. I'll have to do it later. Shit. We're talking film. This is a film criticism show. I don't know. I think film criticism, art criticism is as important as anything. Why the hell not? Why not try to talk about everything you've seen and explain it and turn it into art, turn it into content? I mean, Jesus Christ, it's insane seeing Burt Lancaster and Alain Delon in the same film, on the same screen. It's just like, that is so powerful in and of itself. And these movies are sumptuous. But I'm like, as I'm watching, I'm thinking, what is the difference between this and just like your average historical epic? What makes this cinema one of the great films versus like the War and Peace movie or Dr. Zhivago or the other kind of like sweeping epics of the 60s or whatever. Russian Ark. It's a very different performance for Alain Delon from Les Samurai. Les Samurai is probably the one movie that I know Alain Delon from. And Les Samurai, it's just like, watching this makes that movie so much more impressive because he's very animated in this. He's like, I can't watch this. All I see when I look at Alain Delon in this is Zac Efron. He looks so. Zac Efron has ruined Alain Delon for me. Because Zac Efron kind of looks like Alain Delon in the same way DiCaprio kind of looks like Nicholson, and Nicholson kind of looked like James Cagney. Like it kind of, I don't know. Movie stars are so powerful that like, if you resemble a movie star, that's like why people are attracted to you. Like people they want to fuck somebody that like looks like somebody who's hot on TV. Like, she sort of looks like Sydney Sweeney. Or, oh my God, he sort of looks like Jacob Elordi. He's so hot. He looks like Adam Driver, kind of. Or he kind of looked like Nathan Fielder. Like, I really want to fuck Nathan Fielder, but this guy kind of looks like Nathan Fielder, so. Or, I don't know, you get credit. You get credit for looking like somebody on TV. That's like a compliment. Like, oh, you look like Christian Slater. Oh, wow, thanks. Gee. Yeah, Adam Driver. I remember you saying that. Not bad. Well, it's just, in a certain way, movie stars of like, Liam McPoyle. Okay. I think if people tell you that you look like somebody, it's just like it's their way of saying that like they're attracted to you. It's just one of the ways of awkward gangly is not bad. It's not bad at all. You know, it's in this day and age, that's like that guy on fucking Succession, Nicholas Braun. He was in Adam Driver's in all these plays at Lucille Lortel Theater because he loves doing theater. And they just had Nicholas Braun in some play there. So it's like dominated by gangly. A girl told me once, she's like, I found out the secret. The secret is you need to get a tall, skinny guy because they have the biggest dicks. This is literally what she told me. She's like, I figured it out. I've cracked the code to sex. And it's like, you know, I imagine probably most women feel that way. There you go. I mean, there you go. Not bad. But the thing is, if you're tall and skinny, it also, I think, makes it look huge. It makes it look like, whoa, what the fuck? How is that thing even hanging off that guy? How does he not tip over? I don't know. This is crude. My live streams are crude. What can I say? I'm a crude person. I did share my vlog on my Easy Paradise page, so it did get a good number of views. I don't know. It's the thing about my new vlog is it starts off immediately with me talking about porn. And it's very, like, blue. And so I'm afraid that people are going to watch it and turn it off immediately and be like, Matt Proctor is disgusting. He's a disgusting creep. Women need to realize 9 out of 10 guys have normal gear. Well, okay, my theory is, okay, I think some women, yeah, a lot of women, I think, are turned on by huge dicks. I do think that that's a truism. Not all of them per se, but like, I think the height thing is kind of related to that. Because I'm not saying all tall guys have big dicks. Like Howard Stern talks about how he doesn't have a big dick. You know, constantly. That's like one of his ways that he like disarms people. So I don't think it's like always like, I don't think tall equal big dick. But I think, you know, it's probably more likely that you're going to have a bigger, it just makes sense. Like, but that being said, yeah, there you go. I think that's part of his, yeah, it's part of that character. That being said, I don't necessarily think it's comfortable for every woman per se to have sex with a giant penis. You know, if they're totally ran through hoe bags, then they need some John Holmes motherfucker to dig tunnels, like they say in Reservoir Dogs, just to feel anything. Because they're so fucking, you know, pounded out. We're being crude here. That's why nobody watches. I don't know. I'll clip this. This is all getting clipped out for TikTok later. Sex is out. People don't care like they. That's true. I think everybody's sort of like, it's just normal to talk incredibly graphically. We live in a pornified society, you know. They want us to be animalistic sex fiends. It's how they sell us everything. It's how they keep us capitalistic, competitive, striving. We got to get hotter. Got to get richer. We hate each other. Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, there's a lot to be said. Well, let me finish what I was saying about penis size. Well, I don't know. I think it's comfortable for, whatever. Yeah, I guess I've made my point. Um, what were we just saying? Let me go back to this. We hate each other and ourselves too much to procreate. I mean, I think women don't want to feel like they are uh that's their job or something. Like, yeah, we're not, like the mentality of people like Epstein or like uh you know patriarchy is keep them barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, right? Like that's the woman's job. Woman barefoot and pregnant. The woman is a baby incubator. She is uh she's meant to take care of the children and cook and do the darning and take care of the home or whatever. Well, the man goes out and rips people off as a financier and does hostile takeovers and what did they say? They said Epstein thought of himself as a not hostile. What is it? What is the term? Corporate raiders. Corporate raiders. They thought of themselves as corporate raiders, like pirates. They had these fancy offices in this nice French building. I mean, that's the thing that drives me nuts the most about the Epstein thing. Is like the dude's life was so great. He just had complete luxury and comfort and convenience. And more than that, I mean, in every respect. I mean, he literally, this is something I recently learned, was Epstein had the largest private residence in Manhattan. Epstein literally had the biggest house in the entire island of Manhattan. So, New Yorkers, if you don't hate Epstein for anything else, hate him for that. Not only was he sexually abusing and possibly murdering children, but he was doing it in luxury, opulence, and they're almost equated one to the other. It's like almost one is a metaphor for the other. It's like because he's a corporate raider, he doesn't have the guy said, some guy who hired him early on to do finance shit said he's perfect. He's a rare because he's a genius he's a mathematical genius and he has no moral compass. That's how they described Epstein, as like a young guy. Hold on, I gotta get my lighter over here. Let me get my tripod. Let's go for a little cinematic journey. Epic visually. I mean, now fucking iShowSpeed's live stream looks like a Visconti movie. It's literally like, just like an endless Steadicam shot. Unbroken take. And I like edits, actually. Long takes are nice and everything, but like, that was something I was thinking about with my, like, the difference versus vlogging versus live streaming. And now that, iShowSpeed has kind of revolutionized cinema by making it just like 24/7 Terrence Malick film all day, every day, completely, orchestrating reality like this unbelievable magician. He's chased, people know him everywhere he goes, crowds form. It's just totally nuts what iShowSpeed is doing. He's absolutely like, he already did it. And so it's like, well, but what's the point of vlogging? If you can just live stream the same shit, why vlog? It's old. By the time you post the vlog, it's like the shit. I've been sitting on this footage for 2 months because Apple changed all their fucking codecs and shit. So now when you upload the footage, it's like all out of order. I literally had to manually go in and like arrange all of my footage chronologically because Apple changed like their fucking, how they embed the metadata or whatever. And so it took me hours and hours and hours just to load my footage in. Luckily, I cut in camera, so the editing is basically done by the time I do that. But um, the editing, the cuts are, you lose a lot of effect without cuts, to be honest. To me, I don't know. I love the live stream and the opportunity that provides, but uh, I love making a movie out of life too, and jumping time and space and juxtaposing and ramming, you know, a sunset with a night. It's like you get really nice effects, and that's a whole other cinematic device that you're not being able to take advantage of in a live stream. There's no montage, as they say. I gotta get my KGB matches here. Gotta do the free advertising for KGB. I mean, they're literally saying it right on the fucking... Is it a Russian, is it a front for some kind of Russian spy thing? Has Putin been to KGB bar? I don't think so. They don't have pictures of goddamn Putin on the wall. It's all pictures of socialistic stuff. The freedom fighters, the communists. Yeah, the communists. Fuck football. That's right. I mean, what? It's the Seahawks and it can't be Philadelphia. It's the Seahawks. Who else? See, I don't even know who the fuck's playing. The Patriots. The Patriots are good this year, which I kind of like. I'm glad that the Patriots got good again after Brady left and Bill Belichick left, just to kind of prove that they could do it. I mean, in retrospect, it is absolute. Can we explain, like, how did Tom Brady... I mean, I think they softened the rules. Like, if Tom Brady was playing in the 70s and 80s, he probably would have been run out of the league way earlier because the defense could just get away with a lot more. I feel like he probably would have aged a lot faster. Like, look at Joe Montana. You're telling me Joe Montana couldn't have done everything Tom Brady did? But I also think, I don't know, sports just became more... Like, he took care of himself longer. He became more conscious about trying to do it longer. He wasn't just, like, accepting, like, these guys, Joe Namath or somebody, Joe Montana, that, like, by the time you're 37 or whatever, just, like, you're cooked. But it is pretty fucking nuts to see Tom Brady winning Super Bowls. I mean, he was a factor. But, it's a weird metaphor just for how everything has stretched out over the last 2 decades. Time has changed. The way we experience time has changed, and aging has changed. So it's like, in the same way that, like, all the WWF main eventers are 40 years old now. It's like 40 is the new 25. So, like, yeah, Tom Brady, he played till he was like 40 something, but, like, I don't know, people age slower for some reason. We don't smoke as much, we don't drink as much. We have modern medicine. We have Botox, we have fillers. I mean, Tom Brady was married to Giselle for fucking 20 years. He fucking, who was that other chick who he was engaged to who was super hot? Brittany something. So he's had a pretty cake life. He hasn't really had a whole lot of stress. I mean, it's not like fucking, Dick Butkus is, like, giving him CTE and shit by headbutting, going helmet to helmet or something. Like, it's a softened game now. I don't even think they can really sack the fucking guys. in the same way. They're afraid to Chris Benoit, these motherfuckers. So it's for pussies. They ruined the sport. It's not real football anymore. You don't get any real good hits. So pretty boys like Tom Brady can play forever. But in any case, I don't know. Patriots have got some new quarterback. Halftime show is Bad Bunny. I don't know. The Super Bowl halftime show is always super fucking activist. I mean, Kendrick Lamar was activist. Beyonce, remember, had like the Black Panthers and shit. Like, I don't know. Why did they do that? They're using their platform for good, I guess. I mean, Beyonce was doing that before Trump even got elected. That was like during Obama years. That was like Lemonade era. I remember, it wasn't like controversial per se, but it was like, was it? Maybe it was. I don't know. Were people, I think they just thought, keep politics out of it. Maybe. I don't know. The football fans, it's sort of like Kaepernick taking the knee. Football is a place of activism. And football probably is one of the most racist fucking things left. I mean, all these sports are like these weird. There's an owner, Jerry Jones, owns all the Cowboys and shit. It's just like, it's weird. They need the team should own themselves. Should be a worker-owned commune, like Park Slope Food Co-op. You know, the San Francisco 49ers should go co-op. They should unionize. They should own the team. The team should be self-governing and they should have self-sovereignty. It's just weird. It's just it's like a plantation. And I mean, now that Taylor and Travis aren't going to be there, who gives a shit? That's why I watched the last couple years, because Taylor and Travis were there. It was fun to see Travis, what's-his-face, get humiliated and get totally emasculated in front of a worldwide television audience. But they got engaged, so I guess it didn't really give her the ick or anything. So, fuck. I mean, how long before Taylor Swift drops his ass? I don't think they're going to get married. I don't think they'll make it to the altar. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I think he plays stadiums. She plays stadiums. But once he stops playing stadiums, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be the guy anymore. But I don't know. She's basically admitted she's MAGA, so. She's a conservative housewife now in her middle age. Look at my hair. Jesus Christ. I should cut it again, I guess. It's hard. It's hard cutting your own hair sometimes. It's free labor I do for myself. Yeah, so my pick. I do think it's all fake, like wrestling. And I think Tom Brady is fake. They won right after 9/11. That's what was suspicious. Tom Brady came out of nowhere. He was like a 16th round pick or something. He was not even expected to do well in the NFL at all. He was good at Michigan. He went to Michigan, right? Did he win he won a Heisman or a national championship or something? But he was not some hot prospect for the NFL. And so he sort of came out of nowhere to be the greatest quarterback of all time and have this sort of unprecedented career. It's all scripted. It's all kayfabe. It's all fucking bullshit. Tom Brady's a complete fake. Well, it felt like they won right after 9/11. And their name was the fucking Patriots. And what's his name? Pat Tillman was on the Patriots, right? The guy who died in Afghanistan. Connect the dots, sheeple. Brady is CIA. It's all fake. And so, what is it? The Patriots and who's the other squadron who's competing for the championship? The Seahawks? Is it the Seahawks? The Seahawks won a few years, because they've got a little bit of who's the guy, the Microsoft guy owns them? Steve the lame ass pedo. He was on the island. Steve, what's his face? The bald Steve guy. I think he owns the Steve. What, doesn't he? He owns the Seahawks, or he did. I don't know shit. I don't watch football. I could care less about the NFL. Until the Browns go to the Super Bowl, wake me up when the Browns go to the Super Bowl, which, AKA never fucking happen in our lives. In our poor, pathetic, sad lives, full of pain and suffering. Oh, here's a beautiful picnic scene, though. See, this is what I'm talking about in The Leopard. Like, that is cinema right there. That could be a painting from... Malik had to have seen this movie. I'm about to take the Brown. Bam! Slam dunk from Adam S. Yeah, that's the only Super Bowl the Browns are going to. Is the shitter. Every year. Year after year. Just taking a fat shit in Lake Erie. That's why they call them the Browns. It's all coded, people. It's all symbology. I see it now. It's like They Live, okay? The Epstein Files. If the Epstein Files have not They Lived you and made you see the hypocrisy everywhere and the way they try to control us with these hidden messages, the Cleveland Browns, why would they call them that? What else could it possibly mean? Does not typically have a positive connotation, that color. I mean... I don't think it's a bad... My suit is brown. I've been wearing brown for a year. I've literally been wearing these pants for a year. And so I've been wearing brown for a year. It's my spirit color. Brown kind of gets a bad rap. And the Browns' color is orange anyway. The fucking helmet's orange. So you don't even necessarily associate them with shit, per se. Even though, I mean, are they a national joke? Or is it just, are they unexceptionally bad? You know, there's probably other teams, like are the Bears any better than them? Or fucking the Panthers or whatever? What about the Tennessee Titans? How are they doing these days? Or, you know, I don't think... Doesn't Vegas have a team? That's kind of fucking crazy. What time is it anyway? All right, 3:22. So I need to get off by like 4:30 maybe. So yeah, I'll do another hour. I'm just warming up my brain for tonight. This is a good way to warm up the old brain. Apparently, smoking weed has cognitive benefits for people over 40. I saw an article about it in the New York Daily News. Maybe that's some kind of evil propaganda. Just trying to get us on the goy nip. It's goy slop. I know Jewish people that smoke weed. I know a lot of Jewish people that smoke weed. But they were kind of averse to it in the neighborhood I lived in. And so culturally, maybe it's not accepted. I don't know. It's hard to say. Who am I to say? God, this movie is magnificent. Do yourself a favor. Watch The Leopard. This movie is magnificent. This is one of the greatest films ever made. No question. It's in the top 10, I would say. I mean, I have no clue what it's about or what they're saying. But it doesn't matter. I mean, 90% of communication is nonverbal. It's body language. And so how much does the dialogue really tell you anyway? It's kind of fun. It's almost like being in a foreign country and you don't know what they're saying and you're like trying to figure it out. Just from like body language, and it's almost like more powerful in a way. You're almost like just like witnessing. You're like, what are they? You're like a little kid among adults. Like, what the fuck? What are they saying? What's going on? I think this guy is, well, they're together, I think. This guy's he's clearly the boss here. This guy's like his little... Claudia Cardinale, good God. One of the most beautiful movie stars ever. I mean, this movie is magnificent. 2 thumbs way up. I hope my live streams, I mean, I deal with some very sensitive subject matter, and I try to handle it as sensitively as I can. I hope my live streams do not come off as anti-Semitic in any way. It feels like nearly impossible to talk about modern politics or society or just like what the fuck is going on without talking about, or I don't know, just in life. So I hope that I'm not coming off as like, you know, some kind of anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist or something like that. I'm trying to be fair and but, you know, I think terms like goynip are hilarious. And is there, I heard somebody say it on TikTok or something. And I was like, is that what they think? Is that what weed is? Is that just something they give? I mean, okay, New York, I think it was New York Post or New York Daily News. They're both like ultra right-wing Zionist newspapers. Not that that's a bad thing always. I love Page Six. I love Cindy Adams or whatever. You know? Love Page Six. But are they trying to inspire white people the Gentiles to smoke, to make us impotent and irrelevant and to just take ourselves out? It helps our brain. It's a brain vitamin. That's what the fucking, well, it's propaganda. It's weed propaganda. Well, an interesting thing I heard was like, okay, they switched out cigarettes and alcohol for weed and SSRIs. It's still the way that they have of controlling the population. They want us on certain drugs. They want us caffeinated. And for some reason, they want everybody smoking weed. They want us all to believe anything or just be in a haze of conspiracy and paranoia. Why do they want everybody to smoke weed now? Why is it suddenly legal? Bill Clinton couldn't even say he toked a joint in 1992. And now weed is suddenly cool with everybody everywhere? Like, how the fuck does that make any sense? I say as I toke up. To my pothead audience. No, Adam S. is a job. Adam S. is not a pothead. He's working, he's a hard-working fucking American. He's a great American. He's contributing to the fucking economy, goddammit. My newest theory is, well, Epstein is basically Patrick Bateman. That's my newest realization, is like the shit that Epstein, he's basically a serial killer. If the shit they say about him is true, you know, he's basically a serial killer. They basically did what Patrick Bateman did. Or like that novel seems a little bit, maybe this is nothing new. It's all just Marquis de Sade. It's all, you know, this is something maybe the elites have done for eons and eons. Human sacrifice and body dismemberment, torturing people. God, you know, the Catholic Church did it. The popes did it. Look at the Tower of London or whatever. Look at the freaky S&M bondage shit. Drawing and quartering people. Bed of nailsing people. You know, there's infinite number of ways they had to like torture people to death. They were so fucking bored. It was probably one of their prime sources of entertainment. Getting burned at the stake. They had a million ways to fucking like, you know, torture rack. That was something they actually did to people. I mean, these people are just, now they're all billionaires. I mean, Epstein, it's like, Jesus Christ. You know, he could just spend tens of millions of dollars buying property. He had apartments in Paris where he kept people. You know, he had supposedly his island was the most desirable climate you could ever want. It was totally comfortable all year round. They called it the Lolita Express because the people witnessed him bringing underage girls to his island. That was something the people in the Virgin Islands called it. Like, how did they get away with this? That's what I don't get. Like, Not only that, but the thing that's particularly disgraceful is the people that like procured for him. I don't know if he was paying them. I assume he was. But like Ghislaine Maxwell, for instance, seems like excited about it. She seems like she's obsessed with him. You know, he's like she can't wait to bring to traffic young women to this guy that's like her boyfriend. Like, how does this make any fucking sense? Like, why is she so into this? I guess this is just like their throuple thing that they do, or like, you know, this is how they swing or something. Who the fuck knows? This is what they, you know, this is their having threesomes or something, but it's like, it's not hard to connect the dots with all this shit. You read, you know, like I read this whole article about Woody Allen, this woman who dated Woody Allen when she was 16. It's the woman who Manhattan is based on. It's based on a couple of people, but there was this whole, I don't know, it was an article about her, interview with her or something. I read the whole fucking thing. She dated Woody Allen when she was 16. She said he would call her parents' house, and they were like excited about it. And, you know, you can tell he basically just used her. She was smitten with him because he was a genius, she thought. And she thought, oh my God, you know, like, I have this power of this genius. And she got things out of it. He was able to connect her with this or that. She was a model. And she doesn't talk about it with like remorse. She doesn't talk about it like she was abused or anything like that. But the shit... She said that he would get her into threesomes with another underage girl. God knows, you know, where she came from. And then he introduced her to Mia Farrow, and he would have threesomes with her and Mia Farrow. And then he dumped her for Mia Farrow. And then she didn't see him, but you can tell she still, you know, is like obsessed with him and like kind of like, you know, trades on their time together or whatever. It's just weird. It's just weird. The whole thing is creepy. And so it's like, it's not, you read the same things about Epstein, right? Is like, he worked at this fucking school. He was leering at the girls. They fired him because of it. But certain people liked that, and they could use him because he had a financial corruption. You know, he could scheme and figure out how to move shit offshore or blah, blah, blah. There's a picture of Epstein in, I think, Esquire or something. It's like Bachelor of the Month. Jeffrey Epstein in 1980. Maybe it's Cosmo. It's like some fucking like women's magazine. Bachelor of the Month, Jeffrey Epstein. And he looks like American Psycho. He's wearing a double-breasted pinstripe suit. He's got kind of an 80s fro thing going on. And so it's like, this is a major media publication enabling a serial predator through their fucking power. You know, all these modeling agencies and shit. John Casablancas or whoever that French guy is, that was his friend. It was all a scheme. A way, it was all, you know, to be honest, it was a way of systematizing their pleasure. That said, he had 3 massages a day. He would pay these underage girls to give him massages. And then when they were alone with him, he would come on to them, perhaps even forcing himself on them. And if they said anything, he'd threaten them. He'd say, we'll kill your family. Or, okay, one of the craziest things I read was Graydon Carter, right? Vanity Fair did a story about Epstein in 2003. That was not really, well, the story is they were interviewing some of his victims or people that accused him. And Epstein sent a bullet and a cat's skull to Graydon Carter's office as a way of threatening him to back down on the story, which they did. They took a lot of shit out of the fucking story because they didn't want to get killed by Jeffrey Epstein. You see this over and over again. He got prosecuted in 2007 or 2008, and the guy who, Acosta or something, who was his judge, gave him a sweetheart deal. They said it was the deal of the century because he said somebody above him told him it was above his pay grade and that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence and that he needed to leave it alone. And so Jeffrey Epstein basically got off with a slap on the wrist. He was in some kind of minimum security jail where he could come and go and he could have visitors and shit. He was probably sexually abusing people while he was in fucking jail. And, you know, it's just not hard to connect the dots on this stuff. And it's sickening. The details of it are like, are endless, and they're just sickening. It said, it said he had a 3 12-year-olds, triplets, from France shipped to his, or somebody on his plane to his island or something on his 50th birthday. Triplets, 12-year-old triplets. Like, how does this happen? Like, who are the fucking people who are, like, excited to do this for him? And, like, how did the parents not know? How did they get these kids on a fucking airplane and they ship them to this fucking island for this guy's birthday? It's like, it's incredible to me what money will buy you, for one thing. And powerful friends who just deny everything. Anything they ask these people, it's like, I didn't know him. I don't know anything about it. I didn't know that was happening. Les Wexner. I didn't know the guy. I broke off contact with him. I didn't know this was going on. Sorry to, like, harp on this forever, but, like, this is the big story. And, like, I think Clinton will testify. I don't think he has a lot to hide. He may have had sex with somebody. I doubt if they were underage. I doubt if Clinton was doing the things they accused Jeffrey Epstein of. You know, like, I don't know how far it goes. Like, did he really kill people? I don't know. It says he strangled women to death during some kind of, like, rough sex and buried them on his property in New Mexico. It's like, is that hearsay? Is that just a scary story, an urban legend? I mean, at the very least, I don't know how he got away with it for so long. How do you get away with this for decades without people finding out? It's incredible. All right, you know, I guess he had dirt on people. Like, he was the honeypot guy. He had cameras everywhere. He was always filming people doing bad shit. So I guess, you know, they couldn't really say anything because he'd ruin them or he'd kill them or he'd threaten them. I don't know. I guess that's effective. If somebody tells you they're going to kill you if you say anything, you'll probably shut up, I guess. But you know, how far did it go? The guy literally said he had no conscience. What does that mean? You know, he's making arms deals. He's facilitating arms deals. These guys are dealing in dirty business on a huge scale. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. But yeah, I don't know. It just, like, it feels so much like America, or like American Psycho almost didn't take it far enough. You know, like, Patrick Bateman was torturing, like, prostitutes or whatever, but it's like Jeffrey Epstein was doing this to children, theoretically. Like, Patrick Bateman was a wasp. That's part of the metaphor, is like, he's this very clean Ivy League white person. Whereas Jeffrey Epstein is one of the chosen people. He's superior. His soul is better. Um, he's in finance. He does these. It's all bad. It's all dirty. I mean, is there anybody worse? Is this just one operation? It's just weird the obsession our culture has with Jeffrey Epstein, and they place a lot of like I mean he's sort of the key, I guess, in a way. Oh, the other thing, right? He had this woman who was a pilot for him. She's like some tall, I think she's from Estonia or something, model woman. They said that he bought her from her father when she was 13. He bought her, and he trained her to be like his pilot, right? And to be like one of his. Woody Allen says in this letter or whatever he wrote, because Woody Allen's like buddies with Epstein. He says he does not regret his friendship with Epstein. They're both fucking creeps. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. Like, you don't need to have sex with 16 fucking year olds. Yeah. Woody Allen says this thing about how Epstein has 3 wives in his house, like Dracula, who just sort of do these things for him and sort of orbit. These women seem to like dote on this guy. He had some kind of riz, whatever the fuck it is. I suppose he was just totally comfortable himself because he got, he basically just took whatever the fuck he wanted in life. That seemed to be his principle, is just like, just take it, whatever it is, money, property. I'm gonna have the best townhouse. I'm gonna have a fucking island house. I'm gonna have a ranch. I'm gonna have a fucking, apartments in Paris, whatever, all of it. I'm gonna have sex with children all over the world. No one's gonna stop me from anything that makes me feel good. That's freedom. And he got away with it for decades and decades and decades. And fuck, I lost my train of thought. Did I smoke too much weed? Oh yeah, this woman who was his pilot. That's what I was talking about. So this woman, he trained her to be his pilot slash sex slave slash, housewife in some kind of polygamy employment. He paid these women on a salary, I think, basically. And they were desperate enough that, like, hey, if I'm making $150,000 to be Jeffrey Epstein's, like, sort of like live-in girlfriend, sex slave slash, like, I recruit, underage girls for him, I get a bonus. I get a bonus every time I bring him a piece of pizza or grape soda or coconuts. And so this woman was his pilot or whatever. She was named, okay, in the suit he was in 2008, where he pled guilty to soliciting prostitution. He named 3 women that couldn't be prosecuted for the same thing or something. And one of them was this pilot lady. And one of them was this lady who was married to a NASCAR driver. And then somebody else. These were like his, co-conspirators, basically, in his fucking dirtiest shit. And this woman, this pilot lady, disappeared in 2024. It says that no one has seen her since the beginning of 2024. You know, there's all kinds of shit surrounding this. You know, that Brunel guy died in jail. People just disappear. You know, the one lady committed suicide. The one who was like the most outspoken, Virginia or whatever. I don't know. I didn't. Do my brains just fried with Goynip? I'm just buying the distraction. Is it? It doesn't seem fake to me. I don't know. It doesn't seem fake to me. You know, I have enough like firsthand evidence, having worked for limited brands and just seeing the culture of whatever goes on there. I never signed a non-disclosure agreement, I don't think. Not that I have anything to disclose personally, but just like, I don't know, just like the culture of it. And it's believable. You know, it's right in front of you. You don't even have to work there to see it. The New York Times had some article the other day about Les Wexner and Epstein. It's like, okay, so I do have to leave at 5 o'clock. So I get off in 15 or half an hour. What the fuck else was I gonna? There was some other thing. I feel like Ashley's going to see the Melania movie. That's where she is right now. She went to see the Melania movie with her friends. This is their idea of a good time: is paying money, paying New York City movie theater ticket prices to see the Brett Ratner directed Melania documentary. No wonder they greenlit a 4th fucking Rush Hour movie. No one was asking for this. There was no one that was like, damn, if only we could get another fucking Rush Hour movie. We'd love another Shanghai Noon movie. We had Shanghai Noon, we had Shanghai Nights. Can we get Shanghai Days or something? I don't know. Shanghai Midnight. It's like the Before series. You know, there needs to be a 3rd Shanghai movie. I love Shanghai Noon. I will go on the record as saying it was like one of my favorite movies when I was 16 years old. I fucking loved Shanghai Noon. I still do. Owen Wilson, Jackie Chan. What's not to like? I mean, Rush Hour was okay. I think I saw the second one maybe, or I don't even remember. I didn't love Rush Hour. I can't really, you know. But Shanghai Noon was like Rush Hour for white people, I guess. For white nerds. Not that Rush Hour wasn't for white people. It's just a joke. But they had Shanghai Nights. I never actually saw Shanghai Nights. And but they need a 3rd one, I think. If you're going to make a fucking 4th Rush Hour movie, make another goddamn Shanghai Noon movie. Why not? Throw it in there. If that's the cycle that's coming back astrologically for some reason, those things are... Luke Wilson's back. He's been in a bunch of stuff recently. Those years are coming back all of a sudden. They're rotating back into the consciousness, into the stage of our attention. We need another Shanghai Noon movie, okay? Shanghai Midnight. Or where could they go this time? They went to London. Why don't they go to Shanghai? That would make sense. It's called Shanghai Noon, and it fucking takes place in Nevada and London. Talk about racist white people shit. Then Mexicans, starring Brad Pitt. Shanghai Noon takes place in Carson City. Half the jokes are about how Jackie Chan can't pronounce anything. High Noon. Yeah, exactly. Shanghai Noon. The whole movie is just racist. Oh, it's all about Jackie Chan's accent. You said wet rope don't break, not piss rope Bryn Bar. That just was an early example of the magic of Owen Wilson. And, well, Walter Goggins is in it too, actually. Walter Goggins plays the train robber. It was way early for Walter Goggins. That was about like 15 years, 20 years before Walter Goggins really got famous. That movie came out, I think, in 98 or 99. Yeah. Well, they said, okay, we've got Rush Hour. This is how we market Jackie Chan to American audiences. They knew Jackie Chan was like a big deal. And he was a big box office success in China. They wanted to crack into China, that market, right? They could see the writing on the wall with China. China, China, China. We got this Chinese, guys. Chinese. We're going to do some China. And so, what do? Get a black person, get a black, get China, get a China. And so, I'm sorry, okay? Why not? And anyway, so there you go. There's the recipe for success. People don't really, I mean, the Jackie Chan movies on their own were not that successful. Like, what was it? Rumble in the Bronx. That was the first, like, import. They didn't even shoot it. They shot in, like, Vancouver or something. It's very obviously not the Bronx. But, you know, Jackie Chan was on the radar. Not that Jackie Chan can't carry a movie, but if the audiences are dumb, and they needed they needed an English verbal source. Like Jackie Chan does the physical comedy, and he's funny, and he's charismatic, and he's a big star all over the fucking world, except for here in some ways. I mean, maybe people that watched, I remember Who Am I? Did people ever see Jackie Chan, Who Am I? It used to be on fucking Cinemax or HBO like all the fucking time. It's an amazing film. I mean, Jackie Chan is a fucking genius. We love Jackie Chan. I was a huge Jackie. I mean, obviously. I loved his racist, self-deprecating jokes about his acts. No, I mean, he was bigger than that. He was a Buster Keaton style, Charlie Chaplin style meets martial arts meets... He was really good with props. I mean, he was an incredibly talented physical performer and charismatic source of light. I mean, just Jackie Chan is we love Jackie Chan. So, but they had to crack him in America. So it's like how they put Jean-Claude Van Damme with Rob Schneider. Put Van Damme with Dennis Rodman. Maybe people will watch it. We love Hard Target and shit, but maybe we'll get a bigger audience if, you know, there's a wisecracking. People like wisecracking in their action, you know? For some reason, it goes with the violence to, like, make fun of it. You know, it'll be, like, sarcastic, like John McClane. Ha ha, yippee-ki-yay, we just fucking blew your fucking head off. Let's make a pun about it. I just viciously murdered somebody with a shotgun. I'm ready to make a dry-witted remark. I'm in the mood to dismiss it with humor immediately. To make light of it for the viewer. To make the audience think it's just like some clown show. Let's get a comedian to whore out. Let's get Rob Schneider will do anything. But Chris Tucker was somebody that just exploded off the screen. He was not even in that many films, to be honest. He was in Friday and Jackie Brown and Rush Hour. And then what the fuck else was Chris Tucker in? It's like he was so good in those fucking movies that he's like friends with Michael Jackson all of a sudden. And he's going to Africa with Bill Clinton. Kind of like Chappelle. Kind of like Eddie Murphy. It's like Chappelle just got so famous from like a sketch comedy show. It's like, how the fuck did that happen? It's unheard of. They're just so funny. Chris Tucker is so fucking funny. That's just like, he's on the Lolita Express with Bill Clinton and Bill Gates. And they're rebooting his fucking movie all of a sudden. Gee, I wonder why. I don't blame Chris Tucker. But like Brett Ratner... They say that liberals run Hollywood, and Hollywood's super liberal, but, like, look at this. This is perfect evidence of it not being, because, like, Now that Trump's in power, they fire Colbert. They sold all the studios to Larry Ellison and his kid. And they're rebooting Rush Hour, which no one asked for. And Jackie Chan, to be honest, is probably too old. He played Miyagi in the fucking Karate Kid reboot, and that was like 10 years ago. I mean, Miyagi's like old. That's the whole point of the character. He's fucking old. He's sensei. He's an old, wise master on the mountain. Wax on, wax off. But now, 15 years later, he's going to be like cracking jokes with Chris. Are they, they got to have a new generation. I'm assuming it won't be woke. It's already woke, I guess. It's built in. I mean, it's already, Rush Hour, was always like a diverse movie, which is cool. It had a visual flair, but I mean, Brett Ratner was always kind of a creep. And what did he really ever do that was that good, really? Like, what did Brett Ratner ever direct that was like actually like a great film? Like, name one. Rush Hour, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen it that many times. It's no Shanghai Noon. Let's just say that. It's no Shanghai Nights, okay? And Chris Tucker, I mean, when was the last time Chris Tucker was even in a fucking movie? It feels like the Reagan movie with Dennis Quaid. It's just like the Republicans hammer these movies at us that like are not real movies. But it's like, oh yeah, this is a big deal. Rush Hour 4. I've been talking about Rush Hour 4 for 45 minutes now. I'm going to clip that out. That's a hot take. So I clipped my last live stream. I got 6 clips out of it. And I don't know. It's kind of all over the place performance-wise. It's just, you got to do what you got to do. I got to keep pumping out content. As mediocre and as micro successful as it is, it's a full-time job. I feel like a chimney sweep or something. There should be labor laws for content creators like myself. It's like I'm always live streaming. I mean, my new vlog, I don't really want to toot my own horn, but watch it. I know it's really long. And there's huge, boring parts. There's massively creepy sexual parts. Probably things you didn't want to know about me in there. Well, it's because I watched Citizen Kane. I was inspired by Citizen Kane to add a lot more dimensions. I wanted it to be a newspaper. I wanted it to have, because this winter has been like crazy politically. Maybe I'm obsessed with politics and the news in a weird way. Maybe I should be more focused on some kind of fictional world or something of my own creation, but how can you not be? I mean, Jesus Christ. Look at what's going on in our society. It was there before our own eyes the whole time. Chris Tucker, Rush Hour, Epstein, Connect the Dots, Bill Gates, the Lolita Express, Woody Allen, Noam Chomsky. I mean, come on, people. The Clintons, Pizza, Podesta. Soon Yi. So, I don't know. My new vlog has, it covers a lot. It's meant to be a time capsule as much as anything. I just wanted, there's a lot of news, from the Renee Good thing to the Venezuela thing to the Epstein thing to the, it's insanity. If you haven't looked away, how does our nervous system even handle this shit? It's insanity. I mean, Jesus Christ. It said the townhouse next to Epstein is owned by Howard Lutnick, who is currently secretary of something. I don't know what. Right now, he still owns this house on the Upper East Side that was directly next to Epstein's. He's Epstein's neighbor. This is Trump's Secretary of Agriculture or something. He's some kind of high finance. He's on TV all the time. talking about finance and the interest rates or whatever the fuck. Look at this. This is a lot like Godfather. There's this hunting scene. This movie has it all. It is a magnificent film. I love this film. The Leopard. I don't even know what it's about or what they're saying. It just is, it has everything. So as a concerned citizen, it feels important to pull these threads. Is it all fake news? That's what they'd like you to believe. This is shit Trump released. All the victims' names are in there. It's all the perpetrators that are redacted. They want to just do it sloppy and do it as spitefully as possible, half-assed. They kept a lot of them. So, you know, we don't really see any of these. You know, Epstein had hard drives. This was one of his prime operations. Is he would take pictures of people. He was taking videos of people. He had cameras in the bedrooms and bathrooms and his fucking properties where he would regularly have visitors, high-profile Victoria's Secret models, whatever. Terry Richardson. And he took videos, presumably, of all these people, and he kept them at his house on DVDs, on hard drives. He had hard drives that the FBI seized, presumably full of, you know, incriminating blackmail material, but also probably, you know, inappropriate child fucking material. I'm sure it's real bad and real dark. And I don't know. The way that they're releasing them is very compromised, to say the least. My hair is driving me nuts. I cannot stop fiddling with this. I gotta go one or the other. It's like I kind of fucked myself by cutting it the way I cut it. So I need to cut it more to balance it out. What the fuck else was I gonna... There was some other fucking thing I just thought of that I wanted to get to. Why would you pay to see the Melania documentary? It's a huge red flag. If you got free tickets, okay, maybe, conceivably, I could see you might go see that like as a joke. I could not imagine paying somewhere around $20. Like, fuck these people. You know, they have an unprecedented level of power and they're using it to make us all suffer. You know, this whole cost of living thing. I can't tell you how many social media posts I see about, oh, you know, I could afford a 2-bedroom apartment for $900 a month in 2017. Or now there's all this there's all this like hipster nostalgia. And rightly so. I think the hipster, I'm proud to have been a hipster, actually. I think it was a noble archetype. It was not a bad thing. It was a good thing. Because hipster was really just about like having taste. It was about like being an artist. And part of that is being socially concerned and politically progressive. It's not about like not being woke. Portlandia was like a peak cultural, you know, that was America at its strongest. What happened? It was about small business. Portlandia is really about small business. It's because it's about craft. You know, a lot of the hipster thing was about crafting handicrafts. Put a bird on it. We've got some little store where we make, you know, obnoxious, you know, precious baby jumpers that like have the Ramones logo on it. Or Johnny Cash, or, you know, like, yeah, there were things about it that were really insufferable and kind of like too cool, you know, there was a too cool for school aspect to it, to Pitchfork, and you know, I do think there's some truth to the idea that like the tech people won out, and you know, Glass took over. I was watching this really interesting video about Glass. How, you know, Glass is silicon based or something. Everything now is just like glass. Our phone screens, we see everything through glass. We live in glass. They make everything out of fucking these big glass buildings. I don't know. It's cheaper or something. The hipster era was not about that. You know, the hipster era was about heavy wood furniture, Urban Outfitters. That was before thrifting became like Depop or whatever. It was not upcycled by Instagram fucking accounts. It was more like you could buy, you know, wooden desks and shit cheap, like at a fucking thrift store back in the day. You could get like good furniture for like practically nothing. And what happened? How did America go from such a place of an abundance where a Chipotle burrito cost $6.25 and a bag of Utz potato chips cost $1? You know, I used to buy one bag of Utz potato chips every single day. It was $1. That's why I bought them. Now they're $2.49 a bag. That's what? That's an increase of 150%. It's more than doubled in price in like 5 years. And a Chipotle burrito was $6.25, maybe $7.25 about a decade ago. Now it's $13 fucking dollars. And it's only going to get worse. Bitcoin's been crashing. That's like a really weird thing. I think because it's tied to Epstein. I think a lot of people are pulling out of Bitcoin and putting their, like the stock market's been doing great. The stock market's at like $50,000 or 50,000 points. It broke 50,000 points for the first time ever. It's like, yeah, because everybody's pulling their money out of Bitcoin and putting it in the stock market. You know, for some... The internet, I don't know, has enabled some really unfounded schemes, like fucking NFTs. When NFTs were like a thing, everybody acted like they were legitimate. Everybody was like, well, it's about the blockchain, and now everybody acknowledges they were worthless. Yeah, what's the confession, brother? And Bitcoin's kind of the same thing. People acted like, oh, crypto. This is, you know, you got to invent your own crypto. You got to buy Trump crypto. I got into NVIDIA early. Bam, there you go. Fuck. So NVIDIA's like the next everything. It's the next Apple. It's the next Google. It's the next big time lifestyles. Smart man. I mean, to be honest, that's the only way to make money now. That's what they said. Like, that's why so many people are doing online gambling and shit, because like you cannot make money. You can't make a living wage at a job. Your best bet is to like win a bunch of money betting on sports or crypto. You know, like there's tons of people in New York. I mean, the guy who started Sov House, right, was he was crypto rich. Or NFTs or stocks. It's the same shit. You know, stocks, I bought it when it was 32 a share. Bam. So when can you quit your job? Good for you. Good for you. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Next thing you know, you're going to be at the child sacrifice. They're going to invite you to the child sacrifice. You'll be at Bohemian Grove, and it's a status. Being on the Epstein list is a status symbol at this point. That's how it feels with Ashley. Ashley feels like jealous that she's not on the list. She's not in the emails. Bam. There you go. Awesome. That's super dope. I mean, hopefully it goes through the fucking roof. Hell yeah. That's awesome. That's a lot of money. I mean, but that's the other thing about the stock market. It's like you kind of have to have a lot of money to make a lot of money in a way. It's like, Jesus Christ, who's got even a few $1,000s to gamble? It's gambling. It's 100% the same thing as betting on horses. Like, there are things you can learn about the horses, and there's certain horses that are going to be favorites and better than others. There's certain horses that are going to win more. There's certain horses like Secretariat. Bam. Holy shit. With that AI stuff, the sky's the limit, you know? If they really get the people buying the bullshit, like with Tesla. These assholes want their fucking stocks to go up. And so they all bet on like the same like 7 or 8 stocks. This is one reason why all the companies have been consolidated, because they can consolidate all of the value into these fewer and fewer stocks, where it's like it's Apple, Google, Nvidia, Tesla. Like one company represents each thing basically. And so it's like, well, fuck. Google's always going to make money. Apple's always going to make money. The secret is to figure out what's going to be the next big brand. You know, what's the next? I mean, Nvidia makes, because it's AI. They're the leader in AI. That's, you know, Apple's the leader in software, Google leader in whatever, spying on people, monetizing people's personal information. Facebook, I think, isn't Facebook a publicly traded company? That's fucking weird as hell. That seems completely wrong somehow. What the fuck time is it now? Okay. I gotta get off pretty soon. As much as I want to keep talking about, it's the endless conspiracy. The puzzle with no borders. Just keeps going out and out and out and out and out. I feel for the Epstein victims. I don't know. In the same way that I was talking about, I don't know. I feel like I almost have to live my life sympathetically with whatever is going on in the news on a bigger scale. And so I don't know. I feel like I have my own, it's not the same thing at all. These women were kidnapped when they were children. It's not the same thing at all, but like, you know, I worked for Les Wexner more or less. I was an independent contractor through a video company, so I wasn't really a direct employee, but you know, he employed everybody who was like creative. Anybody who was a creative in Columbus, Ohio, worked for Les Wexner. So like if you wanted to have a cool job and make money doing something that wasn't like, you know, toiling like a goyim, working in a restaurant, working manual labor. I mean, you could have maybe gotten a job at the university or government, maybe. There's a few choices, but, you know, Columbus is one of the big fashion cities because of Limited Brands and CCAD, and it's a pipeline for these creepy fucking sex traffickers and abusers of children. I mean, Epstein literally had a mansion on Wexner's property in New Albany. I was always creeped out by New Albany as a kid New Albany was this community in Columbus that was developed by Les Wexner. It was engineered. There was nothing organic about it. It was completely premeditated to be like this kind of like New England town or something. The distinguishing feature of it was branded with this white fence that went everywhere. New Albany you knew you were in New Albany because there was this white fence that sort of looked like a cow ranch. Come to think of it, but like fancy, because it was sort of like a facsimile of, I don't know, Connecticut, or I don't know, our town, Havens Corners. And the idea was all his employees were supposed to live there. You work for him and you live in his little town, which is like this, I don't know, secret sex farm or something, where we harvest, the children that we want to kidnap. Or just be our employees. Everybody who was like hot, Abercrombie, the headquarters of Abercrombie was in Columbus. And so anybody who was like super hot and talented worked for Abercrombie. And that guy was a super like pedo, abuser of little boys or something. So it was always just sort of this weird, dark control mechanism. Like if you wanted to live, you had to work for this guy and be a slave to like this. And the best case scenario was you could be somebody like me and work in New York with like the models or something. You could work on the campaigns. The deal was if you worked at Limited Brands in Columbus, like I knew somebody worked at Victoria's Secret, and it's like if you worked at Victoria's Secret for a couple years, you could transfer to New York. So a lot of people would come to Columbus after school where they could get a 6-figure job in this low-cost town that nobody heard about. That's also another reason why Lex Wexner was probably there, because it's not Cleveland, it's not Cincinnati, Columbus. It's kind of this hidden, nobody really knows about. It's not Pittsburgh. It's not even Indianapolis. It's Columbus, Ohio. It's sort of this Delaware of the identity. It's just sort of this anonymous, nondescript. It could be any other. It's like a John Doe. Columbus, Georgia, Columbus, Springfield. It's like, could be anywhere. Which Columbus? It's confusing on purpose for legal purposes. And so you'd work in Columbus for Abercrombie for a few years. You'd get it on your resume. You'd save up, a shitload of money, $100,000. Like you have this dope life in Columbus. It was cheap. You could have an awesome apartment, go to restaurants, whatever. Limited Brands was always throwing these parties for these people. They were like renting out bar, because they wanted to socialize them all together. It was really creepy. In Columbus, you'd happen upon these people that were like British, or, you could tell they were like really glamorous. You're like, what are you doing here? You're not just like a fat football pizza eating idiot. You're like hot and you're stylish. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? It's like, I work for Abercrombie. Fuck you. We're better than you. Go away. We have this little roped off party in the VIP area at like whatever the hot new thing is of the week. But it changes all the time. And so, I'm a sex slave, basically. You have to be now. Everybody's varying. It's all sex slavery. Whatever it is. You basically get hired based on how hot you are and how much your bosses want to sleep with you. And it's only a matter of time before they come on to you and how aggressive it is and how cool you are about it, how into it you are. Either you're going to file a lawsuit if it's Harvey Weinstein, or, maybe you're into it and you fuck your boss who's married. Or your manager at the bar you work, or whatever. One of the other waiters. I mean, that's the best part about working in a restaurant is everybody hooks up. It's generally pretty good looking people. Is that true of any job? I guess not. I don't know. I've never really had a real job. How does it work in an office? At Limited Brands, it seemed like they wanted people to like bond. They were constantly doing like team building exercises and shit. They wanted people to be obsessed with their jobs to the point that they would come in on they were always going in on the weekends because it's like, yeah, everybody who's hot and in their 20s is at Limited Brands. Everybody who's creative and who can't make it on their own as an artist. And Mad Men was on at that time, so it's like there were graphic designers, there were copywriters, I did video shit, there were art students, people with British accents. It said Epstein was in contact with the executives at Limited Brands as Les Wexner's right-hand man and financial advisor and his sort of like accountant, basically. He's the Meyer Lansky or the Hyman Roth. I don't know. Maybe that's not what Hyman Roth did. Maybe Les Wexner is Hyman Roth. I don't know. I don't know who's who in the Godfather analogy. But in any case, said Epstein had regular contact with the executives at Limited Brands to tell them whatever, to tell them to ship him more, underage models to his talents. We need these talent scouts, out looking for the best looking preteens all over the world to kidnap and to give them modeling contracts. It's insane. It's fucking insanity. Okay, 4:22. I gotta leave by 5. Maybe I'll keep it on. No, because I gotta charge my phone. Okay, was there anything else I need to talk about? Let me check my list. Did I make a list? There was some other shit. There always is. We talked about Barry Lyndon. Thank you for watching. Congratulations on the NVIDIA stock. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I have to do this clown show tonight. I think I got some clips from this. Let me talk about this for a second. I was clip farming. Maybe people have noticed. I'm sure. Thank you for watching my YouTube shorts. They're just clips from this at this point. I try to get, the stuff that does the best is the poems do really well and the stand-up comedy stuff does well. That's one reason why I was doing it and filming it. This stuff, I think it gets a different kind of engagement. I think maybe gets a deeper engagement, but not quite, I don't know. These other people, it's not unusual for a comedian to be getting thousands of views or tens of thousands of views or even tens of thousands of likes on like a video they're posting. Me, the most I get is maybe like 1,900 views. And I got 21 likes on a video the other day. I got 92 likes on a video the other day on TikTok. I do have a video on TikTok that's got almost 8,000 views. Which if I was some hot chick, that would be like the least viewed video I even have. But since I'm a middle-aged weirdo, my clip farming, I get, it's hit or miss, but I think that's important. It's important to do quantity, not quality. When it comes to the arts, I'm a quantity, not quality guy. Well, I think I'm having a little bit of a breakthrough because when I edit these videos, I think it does make interesting miniature videos that are like mini takes. You know, this stuff actually edits together pretty well. And you know, I can usually come up with like minute to minute and a half clips that are like succinct. Usually some funny shit happens, some insightful shit happens. They're not always 100% on point because I am just like free balling here. So, like I said, Robin Leach had an Australian accent and he's British. He's not Australian. But his accent is really exaggerated to the point that, like, that was kind of my. I didn't say that he was Australian, but I tied him into this Australian thing. And so, you know, this guy commented, like, Robin Leach is an Australian, he's British. And then, like, oh, fuck, he's right. A lot of people are, like, correcting me on my takes, which are not necessarily totally factually okay. I have alternative facts. I mean, who cares? It's more about organic, spontaneous, you know, like I could go back and like take certain bits that I've done and like really hammer them out now that I have sort of a shape to them, but I don't know. Like I said, I go for quantity, not quality. It's all about quantity these days. If I just keep, you know, like every few days I've got a live stream. Once a month I have a vlog. You know, I do live performances once a week that are like, you know, either a music thing or an open mic thing or something that I post. I've got the shorts, which are, you know, condensed. They're basically meant to be ads for the channel where like people might watch, you know, you get a lot of traffic on the shorts. For some reason, they really pump those shorts out. And on TikTok, it's like, I might not be getting a lot of views, but I do get a follow. I basically get a follow every time I post a video. And so I see that people are listening, they are responding. I am, you know, I'm just some weirdo on the internet. I'm doing it a little bit differently than other people are. I'm not just like scripting out, talking to my camera. Like it's more, you know, excerpting, you know, sort of unfinished. They could be polished, you know, a little more. I could get more punchlines in. I could punch it up a little bit. I am taking kind of the rough draft of my takes because there's so many fucking things to comment on. And so, you know, I'm pumping out responses. I'm trying to pump out responses to things in the news. You know, a lot of my shorts are about Epstein, but a lot of them were about the ICE thing or the Venezuela thing or, you know, things that I naturally talk about in my live stream. Now because I have two phones and because my phones have, I think they have 100, they're definitely 64 gigs, but they might be 128. I'm not totally positive. Let me look real fast. So it's like now I finally have tools that like I can be a little bit extravagant with, yeah, this is 128 gigs. So it's like I'm not paranoid about, ooh, I'm clipping too much. I'm not doing too many screen cap videos and like eating up all my hard drive. Like I can afford to spend a little bit. That's rare for me. It's rare for me to have the abundance and the largesse to like, to be so extravagant with my clip farming. You know, now I can screen cap a 20-minute long musical performance and I'm not like worried that my phone is going to freeze up and the operating system is going to is just going to die, which happened to me I've been living in poverty for so long that I just, you know, and in a certain way, even though it's just data, it is money and it is physical space in a way because it occupies external hard drive space. You got to figure out some way to, you know, get it on the internet so it has some kind of permanence, or at least for the time being. You know, you got to carry these hard drives around. They cost money. You know, so it's like it does cost, even though it's cheaper than film or cheaper than a videotape maybe, it's still, there is an expense that goes into every video that you take on your phone even, because you only have a certain amount of hard drive space, or at least that's the way my scarcity mindset looks at it. And so I've just been barraging. And this was the first vlog where I went and inserted short, because this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, is cannibalize the live streams for reels or whatever the hell you want to call it, because there's two different audiences, or you can tap into most of the subscribers I get, I think, are actually from the live streams in a weird way. Or like it's about half and half. Like it's worth doing all of it. It's worth live streaming the open mic. It's worth doing the vlogs. It's worth doing shorts. It's worth doing. It's all, and you can recycle a lot of the same material in a way. That's not necessarily looked on poorly. That's what a lot of these fucking TikTok accounts are. It's just like they'll take a clip from Adam Carolla podcast or, some short. A lot of times it doesn't even add up to anything. They keep you on a cliffhanger. So you're like, where's the rest of this? And you go to their account or something. So it's just like I'm trying to use my own video podcast, as a source. In addition to like I post performances on TikTok, like I post my whole birthday reading. Not that anybody watches it, but like it's just another place that it exists in case, they take down something. Maybe some people watched it, It's interesting that it's on there. One thing I wish TikTok did is I wish it feels like this stuff has such a short life cycle. And it doesn't have to. Like just as something was posted recently doesn't necessarily mean it's like the best content. There's certain things like with news, obviously, or like takes or things that are relevant in the culture, like you want up to the minute responses, maybe. Or things that are happening, clips from, I don't know, things that are the Grammys or something. But there's old stuff too that like I'm sure is continuously, and it's just like, well, after a few days, if the algorithm isn't boosting it, and if people aren't engaging with it, I don't know, based on a certain numeric, then it just dies. It's like, well, nobody wanted to watch this, so we killed it at 87 views. There wasn't enough interest to justify showing it to more people. Speaking of which, let me check my TikTok here. I'm getting enough likes on these videos, like, for my takes. It's like, okay, I'll get 20 likes on a take.
It's dark, people. What was Woody Allen doing? Why are they...
This got 8 likes. It's not horrible. 197 views. I'm getting a lot of comments on things, so it's starting discussion. I'm not getting like several 100,000 likes or anything. I've never gone that viral. But this video's got 21 likes, 590 views. And then, so when I clip the stuff from this, I finally have an edited version that I can put in my vlogs. One of the things that's been missing from the vlogs is content from the live streams, which are sort of like the narrative of the story. To like really know what's going on, you kind of have to watch my live streams. And so with this, I don't really like talking to the camera for like a couple minutes and then cutting it off. I don't know. I prefer doing it like this and kind of doing like a long form weave collage of all of the different things that I've been meaning to talk about and have been going on. And then, because then you get warmed up, you get into flow state. All right, I do have to get going. Whereas, like, it's really awkward to just, like, be on, and then I'm going to get everything I need to say. If any one, like, I talked about Citizen Kane for an hour and a half the other day, and I still have a lot more to say. It's like any one, it's like I can't film an hour and a half video on my phone and post it to TikTok, really. Like, in TikTok, you kind of have to compress everything somehow. And so with this, I can kind of cut out the pauses, the ums, the ahs. I can cut out certain parts of the content that maybe I don't want, or, you know, you get to something faster. So, you know, I'm not getting like huge, but it's sort of working. You know, it's sort of, I can feel the wheels turning a little bit. It's working, you know, as much I'd like to be a big influencer and have it pay my rent in some fabulous apartment. That's my real goal. That's my intention. I'm setting my intention. But this is something I've been meaning to do for a couple years. Now I finally kind of have time and space. It does take work though. You know, it's hard to sit there and listen to yourself. I don't like going back and watching these, believe it or not. I know everybody thinks this is probably hyper narcissistic, but I don't actually watch my vlogs or my live streams like ever. I'm kind of afraid to. You know, in the same way that like you don't like hearing the sound of your own voice. Like sitting there and watching yourself, it's kind of cringe. I think that's one of the reasons why cringe is such a meme word now, because like filming yourself is cringe. It's impossible not to be. Like your voice doesn't sound like how you want it to sound. You don't look exactly how you want to look. I sound gay. I sound like a gay, like I'm such a spaz. I'm yelling, croaking. I don't know. I sound like Screech. So I'm trying to work on being quieter. It helps to have an objective feedback, right? And dude, I'd love to have hundreds of people watching my fucking live streams. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I know there's a handful of people that comment, Manosphere guy, or of course Bruce Halliday and Adam S. But also let me look at my comments. Gloom and Doom guy. I want to shout out everybody who commented. Man Focused, Gloom and Bloom TV. Yeah, my latest vlog has 67 views. That's not horrible. Now the market's a little more saturated. There's more people vlogging and there's more. But I did work hard on this last vlog. I mean, it took me a couple days. It usually does. I don't just throw them together. I usually do a couple passes, you know, with the resources that I have. They're not always as fleshed out. I like doing long vlogs, to be honest. I prefer doing, like with this one. I wanted this one to be 3 hours. I wanted it to be like The Leopard. I wanted it to be a time capsule of this winter. All the news, all the gigs, all the performances. I just put the whole fucking performance in. I put the whole Vivian Crayon. I put the whole poetry reading. Because you want it. 10 years from now, you're going to appreciate it even more. That's something that in the videos I made 10 years ago, I'm regretful that I really truncated everything. I really edited and I cut the performances way down. And it's like, just put the whole performance in. It's, you know, why not? Why not have a 25-minute long take in the middle of your fucking movie of your noise band? Why the fuck not? You know, people are consuming content in a different way now. It's the mini series. You know, you can have a 2.5 hour long movie of the last 2 months. And it's got all the poetry in it, and it's got talking head news jokes and impressions, and because all of this shit is happening, we're in the maelstrom of all this crazy news that's sort of really shifting the ground beneath our feet quickly. So I need to put that stuff in. You know, it needs to be a newspaper. It needs to like be a time capsule so that we can go back and watch it later and be like, there's as much information as possible about what happened, you know, my exhaustive, whatever, encyclopedic to the best of my ability, you know, regurgitation of all the news shit I've skipped over. One thing I've been thinking about, because all these filmmakers, it's about long takes, right? Like Citizen or Touch of Evil, Orson Welles, that long take at the beginning. P.T. Anderson, the beginning of Boogie Nights. That first take in Boogie Nights is nuts. It actually is insane. And it's sort of a pissing contest. Goodfellas, Scorsese, The Long Take going into the Copa, of course. That's sort of the one that I think they're all trying to, one up or imitate or whatever. But The Long Take has become sort of a known badge of like your power as a director. It's how you really show your, and it's almost like a little play in a way. It's because actors are used to doing 90 minutes or 2 hours. We're used to long takes. It's like, it's only in a movie that everything's edited up and all these little shots. The crew, that's part of the choreography that's exciting, is the crew has to be a part of that long take, not screwing up. But it's sort of, it's one of these things that's like, it separates the men from the boys, or it's a try, it's a test, or I don't know. It's a cinematic technique a lot of times. It's about showing a panorama of characters in their environment and showing their world, really. And up until the invention of the Steadicam, it was pretty hard to get a fucking long take of anything because you had to build dolly tracks and shit. And so that's why things like Touch of Evil or Magnificent Ambersons has some long takes are really impressive. I mean, Orson Welles was coming from theater. He was used to having a well-oiled machine, including the technicians. But I was watching this movie Snake Eyes the other day, Brian De Palma, because I've been trying to get into De Palma. Bonfire of the Vanities starts out with this really long take, like 4 minutes. De Palma loves the long take. But it's a Steadicam. With a Steadicam, it's kind of a lot easier to just like flow through a bunch of different environments. You're not, with Orson Welles, it's like they're taking apart tables and, they pick up, there's a bunch of different tricks that they use. Now it's like, I don't know. That's not to say it's not impressive, but this movie Snake Eyes is supposed to have things that like resonate with Charlie Kirk. There's a guy in the movie named Charles Kirkland who gets shot. And it starts out with this super long take. That's like, they said it's the best part of the movie. And so it's on Tubi, so I was interested in it. And it is a really long take. But now it's like Snake Eyes in the theater. Yeah, I remember when it came out. It was like a big summer movie. They thought it was going to be like a hit. And it kind of just went, it got not great reviews. And, but it's one of these movies that like in wake of Charlie Kirk, it's like people are watching it and being like, look, it predicted the future, or there's things about it that are relevant to the modern. Carla Gugino's in it. She's smoking hot. I understand why people didn't like it. It's kind of ridiculous, and like it said there was a whole hurricane sequence at the end of the movie that they shot, but they took out and reshot with something like more mellow. Yeah, Nicolas Cage wasn't really Nicolas Caging as much as we know and love he can do. Gary Sinise was okay. It was just kind of it was like a mystery caper movie in a way that like really, Brian De Palma's into that. He's trying to do like his Hitchcock thing or whatever, but I wasn't really, it was kind of boring. The beginning of the movie is exciting with the boxing match and the long take. And then pretty much everything after that, I wasn't really paying attention. I was editing while I had it on. I put all these Orson Welles Shakespeare movies on. I watched Orson Welles' Othello, which is incredible. The Macbeth movie's a little muddy, but the Othello movie is really incredible. I didn't watch that either. I just kind of put them on while I'm working. So it's like I'm editing my vlog, which is 2.5 hours long. I mean, I watched it a few times. There's some shit in it that is maybe a little overkill, but, it's better to have it all there. I'll watch it a few years from now and be like, God damn, that was awesome. Even now, I'm watching and I'm like, yes, this is an epic. This needs to be. The longer, the better. I just am not into these 45-minute long vlogs. I've been trying to make them shorter. Somebody made a comment about how my videos were all 3 hours long. So I was like, okay, let me try to do like shorter vlogs. I've been doing about one a month, and they're all like 40 minutes somewhere 40, 50 minutes. But I don't know, I kind of like longer seasonal. You know, I like a vlog that like tells the whole summer or the whole winter. You know, like this last vlog was kind of interesting because the first two open mics are in the red room and then the rest of them are downstairs. So you literally see the change in the vlog. It's not like in one vlog it's in the red room and the next vlog it's in the downstairs. It's like you see it, if you watch this whole vlog, you see that transition. I think that's important. And so I like long takes, but now it's like you get a gimbal for your fucking iPhone and you can be Brian De Palma in Snake Eyes. Like you can like I Show Speed is an endless Steadicam shot of just like him being magical with the public. It's insane what this guy does, actually. It's really insane. But it's like, I'm all for long takes, but like there's other ways that movies are interesting. And editing is a big part of that. It's nice to be able to shift points of view like that. And splicing things together really creates, you know, more domain instantly. You know, you can jump between places, you jump between parts of the calendar, you jump forward. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about for now. Thank you guys for watching. I'll probably live stream the clown show. I'm going to try to live stream it, so we'll see. I got to figure out what I'm doing. My Francis Ford Coppola tripod. Have a great... Don't watch the Super Bowl. Fuck the Super Bowl. Watch the clown show instead. Thank you, Adam S. Congratulations on your NVIDIA stock. I hope you become... The thing about crypto is like, if you're not getting rich fast enough, that's what crypto's for. It's like, I need $1 billion now. Based on something that is like an internet meme joke for idiots. I need Dogecoin. It's worth $1 trillion. The world's first trillion coin. Hell yeah. All right, well, there you go. You'll get a car. Or whatever. You could get a nice little treat for yourself. Do something nice. A Honda, you know, yeah, get a Japanese Honda, you know, Toyota. All right, have a good night. Talk soon. I'll be back on soon. Thank you for watching, everybody.